Good Monday, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Conversations Daily News. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. Well, it's a brand new day, it's a brand new week, and that means it's a brand new opportunity for you to do something amazing, and it all begins right now. But it's also February the 28th. Can you believe that? The last day of the month. Tomorrow begins the month of March. This year is flying by, but we have you guys covered. Today we have your news headlines. We have the truth of the day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and in today's entertainment spotlight, you've been part of my conversation with journalist and author Matt Haines discussing his new book, The Big Book of King Cake, just in time for Mardi Gras. Enjoy today's broadcast. For Conversation Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Monday headlines. In international news, Putin puts nuclear forces on high alert, escalating tensions. President Vladimir Putin dramatically escalated east-west tensions by ordering Russian nuclear forces put on high alert Sunday, while Ukraine's embattled leader agreed to talks with Moscow as Putin's forces drove deeper into the country. Putin cited aggressive statements by NATO in issuing a directive to increase the readiness of his country's nuclear weapons, a step that raised fears that the invasion of Ukraine could boil over into nuclear war, whether by design or mistake. The Russian leader is potentially putting in play forces that, if there's a miscalculation, could make things much more dangerous, said a senior U.S. defense official speaking on condition of anonymity. Amid the mounting tensions, the Ukrainian President Zelensky's office announced that the two sides would meet at an unspecified location on the Belarusian border, where a Russian delegation was waiting Sunday. But the Kremlin's ultimate aims in Ukraine and what steps might be enough to satisfy Moscow remained unclear. The fast-moving developments came as scattered fighting was reported in Kyiv, battles broke out in Ukraine's second-largest city, and strategic ports in the country's south came under assault from Russian forces. With Russian troops closing in around Kyiv, a city of almost 3 million, the mayor of the capital expressed doubt civilians could be evacuated. Across the country, Ukrainian defenders were putting up stiff opposition that appeared to slow Russia's advance. In a southern port city, where Ukrainians tried to fend off a Russian advance, a medical team at a hospital desperately tried to revive a 6-year-old girl in unicorn pajamas who was mortally wounded in Russian shelling. The effort failed, and she lay dead on a gurney, her jacket spattered with blood. During the video-recorded rescue attempt, a doctor in blue medical scrubs, pumping oxygen into the girl, looked into the camera. "Show this to Putin," he said angrily. "The eyes of this child and crying doctors." Meanwhile, the top official in the European Union outlined plans by the 27-nation bloc to close its airspace to Russian airlines and fund the purchase of weapons for Ukraine. For the first time ever, the European Union will finance the purchase and delivery of weapons and other equipment to a country that is under attack, said the European Commission president. The EU will also ban some pro-Kremlin media outlets. Also, the 193-member UN General Assembly scheduled an emergency meeting for today on the Russian invasion. Putin, in giving the nuclear alert directive, cited not only statements by NATO members who have rushed to reinforce the military alliance's members in Eastern Europe, but the hard-hitting financial sanctions imposed by the West against Russia, including Putin himself. He told his military chiefs to put nuclear forces in a special regime of combat duty. Western countries aren't only taking unfriendly actions against our country in the economic sphere, but top officials from leading NATO members made aggressive statements regarding our country, Putin said in televised comments. U.S. defense officials would not disclose their current nuclear alert level, except to say that the military is prepared at all times to defend its homelands and allies. In national news, on cusp of Biden's speech, a state of disunity, funk, and peril. In good times or bad, American presidents come to Congress with a diagnosis that hardly differs over the decades. In their State of the Union speeches, they declare, "The state of our union is strong," or words very much like it. President Joe Biden's fellow Americans, though, have other ideas about the state they're in, and little hope his State of the Union address Tuesday night can turn things around. American strength is being sharply tested from within, and now from afar, as fate overnight made Biden a wartime president in someone else's conflict, leading the West's response to a Russian invasion of Ukraine that makes all the other problems worse. In more national news, Biden nominates Jackson, first black woman, to Supreme Court. President Joe Biden on Friday nominated Federal Appeals Court Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson to the Supreme Court, the first black woman selected to serve on a court that once declared her race unworthy of citizenship and endorsed American segregation. Introducing Jackson at the White House, Biden declared, "I believe it's time that we have a court that reflects the full talents and greatness of our nation. And finally, in entertainment news, Tom Holland in Uncharted stayed number 1 at the box office. For the 8th time in the last 2.5 months, a movie starring Tom Holland is number 1 at the box office as the Associated Press. The Sony's picture video game adaptation Uncharted, starring Holland and Mark Wahlberg, led ticket sales for its second weekend of release with $23 million, according to studio estimates on Sunday. That made the top 5 movies over the weekend. Number 1, Uncharted with $23 million. Number 2, Dog with $10 million. Number 3, Spider-Man No Way Home with $6 million. Number 4, Death on the Nile with $5 million. And number 5, Jackass Forever with $3 million. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's our time for the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich. Mary Ellen, take it away.
Hi, this is Mary Ellen with your Truth of the Day. Engage in periods of peaceful solitude. To soothe your mind, quiet your body, and infuse your spirit with serenity, you must engage in periods of peaceful solitude. Steer your day toward calming activities as you honor your need for solitude. Doing this for a while or an entire day will provide you with a sense of invigorating strength that you might not have even realized you were lacking. When you engage in these periods of quiet reflection, you allow your thoughts to quiet down, releasing stress and tension from your body. This allows your spiritual self to step forward, helping you to feel connected and balanced. Every aspect of your life will receive many positive benefits by your choice to engage in peaceful reflection. Today, grant yourself the gift of peaceful solitude and always enjoy the day.
We are part of my conversation coming up with journalist and author Matt Haines in today's Entertainment Spotlight. Stay with us. You're listening to Conversation Daily News. For Conversation Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with the Entertainment Spotlight. Journalist and author Matt Haines joined me recently on Conversations Live, the radio show, to talk about his new book, The Big Book of King Cake, just in time for Mardi Gras. Here's a bit of our conversation.
What has it been like for you, Matt, to be able to share your own experience with King Cake, but also the history and the people behind it?
Yeah, I mean, my introduction to King Cake is kind of a silly one, and maybe we'll get to that in a little bit. But really, when that connected to the idea to create this book, I thought I was creating a book about cake, and that's how I started. And it's a very photogenic, it's a beautiful cake. There's lots of varieties. But I quickly discovered as I was interviewing bakers that, whoa, this book is so much more interesting if it's about the people who make the cakes. And that in every one of the varieties you see from king cake to king cake, there's a story behind it and a person's history behind it.
Talk to us about 2017 and your experience with King Cake and what kind of sparked all of this.
Yeah, so I was invited to a king cake party. I'm not from New Orleans originally. I'm a New Yorker, and I moved here 13 years ago. The first few of them were, I'd see a king cake at a parade, and it was, it was tasty, but I didn't think too much of it. In 2017, though, I was invited to a king cake party, and I learned that at the end of the party, whoever brought the best cake would be kind of crowned champion. There'd be a vote, and I am a very competitive personality, and I wanted to win that competition. So I looked online to see what people were saying was the best king cake. I found a top 10 list here, and I put that on a spreadsheet, and then I found a top 15 list, and it had a completely different set of king cakes from the first list, and I did that over and over again and basically ended up with a list of more than 100 king cakes. And it was a long carnival season, and I said, okay, you know what, I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to try to eat all of these. And I failed, but I did eat 88 of them that year, which is a whole lot in a single carnival. And that kind of blew my mind as to all the different varieties that were out there.
Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you all for tuning into this edition of Conversation Daily News. Provide you guys on tomorrow's more news. Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and of course your Entertainment Spotlight. Until then, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversation Daily News today. Let's make it a great one.